Hi guys, my name is Vivek. I work as Director IT at VerSe Innovation. We are better known as Daily Hunt, which is one of our product, and also for Josh, which is a short video app. Daily Hunt is the mobile news aggregation app, and we are scaling big time. We get approximately 300 plus million monthly active users on our platform on Daily Hunt and around 100 plus million users on Josh. Our IT team is very skilled, very efficient, but the way we are scaling up, we are adding a lot of users every month. It is a challenge, especially because we are working remotely. All the users are scattered all over the country. So managing the assets for them, managing the endpoints for them is a big challenge, was a big challenge, I will say, right? How did we overcome that challenge? We did POC for a lot of centralized management systems like Endpoint Central, and we realized that there were a couple of challenges with them. First of all, one major challenge was ours is a hybrid organization. We use Windows operating system, we use Mac operating system, and we use Linux operating system. 90% of the solutions did not support all three. Now you can understand that you will have to have three separate solutions to manage one organization, which is a big challenge, right? You will need more resources, 3x more resources, you will need 3x more time and efforts to do that, and also it's a risk because you do not have, as an IT head, I do not have the visibility across the organization as to what is going on in one dashboard, right? Three separate systems working in isolation doesn't work. So we were hunting, like I said, 90% of the solutions failed. Couple of solutions that qualified also failed eventually because we found out that they were not as secure as they were claiming, and that is very evident because the news about their breaches came in the public last year. And the challenge that we saw as an organization was that if I have a centralized management system which has access to all my endpoints and that gets compromised, it means all my endpoints are compromised. Right? You can't afford that, especially when you really can't do much if your endpoints are compromised and users are sitting remotely. You can't run to them, you can't fix it, you can't format their system, you can't contain the breach. So it was a big challenge. We decided not to go with that, and then why not make in India, right? So the ManageEngine Endpoint Central, which is a completely make in India solution, and was qualifying on all the key parameters of our requirements. We decided to do the proof of concept test, and luckily it qualified on all the parameters. Everything came green, and let me tell you, if you think that it was easy, it was not. We tested it on approximately 78 documented parameters where everything had to be met, that what are we planning to do with the organization, whether it matches our roadmap or not. And we took approximately 3 to 4 months to do that kind of POC. We tested whether the patch management, vulnerability management, asset management, deployments, all of that is possible through the Endpoint Central or not. And I'm happy that yes, we had the successful POC, and then we onboarded Endpoint Central a couple of months back. We also hosted it on the cloud so that we have the high availability and couple of other features that only come with the cloud offering. And it started making life easy. How? Let me give a quick brief about how it started making life easy. We are an ISO certified organization, ISO 27001 certified organization for past 1 decade plus. So compliance is into our blood. We had no option but to be on the toes to find out where are the gaps in the compliance, in the regulatory requirements, and fill them up. But again, since all these systems that I talked about earlier were working in isolation, it was very difficult to pull the reports from various places. For example, vulnerability management, we were using a couple of solutions. I am not at the liberty to disclose it. Couple of open source solutions that I can tell you that we were using, like VerSe, like Patrol Manager and all that. They were giving clean dashboards, they were giving the reports, but then they are giving the reports. Ultimately, you have to find out another solution to go and fix them, right? So 2 separate solutions, not easy. And that too multiplied by 3 for each operating system, Mac, Windows and Linux makes it 6. again not easy. And then the trouble gets 2x because users are working from remote. You cannot put the patches, you cannot put the security policies centrally through a centralized system in the office. It had to be on the internet, so it had to be secure. It should be talking to your endpoints in encrypted fashion so that they are not compromised. The communication between the server and the endpoint is not compromised. All of these parameters we had to check. Then we found out there was a very clean dashboard on Endpoint Central which tells me what are the vulnerabilities across the organization, what are the critical ones. And if I click on that, just one click, say on critical vulnerabilities part, if I click on the count, it shows me how many systems are impacted. What are the vulnerabilities? All vulnerabilities, let us say 9 vulnerabilities are there. For each vulnerability, how many systems are impacted? What is the CVE detail of that? I can go into the last level of depth by single clicking. And then the best part comes into the picture, which is just select all and say install patches or fix vulnerability, and it fixes it. And you don't have to worry, you don't have to follow up with the users, you don't have to take the remote control of their machine to do it. Whenever they come online, whenever they connect to the internet, it will automatically happen. And you'll be able to see it in your dashboard that these many systems it was rolled out to, these many are completed successfully, these many are pending, these many retries are happening. It makes life easy when it comes to the compliance report because my auditors are very happy. They are able to see that these reports are showing the real-time data. It is not a manual effort that, okay, last week my team generated this report and today the count may be different. It is real-time data, right? And I am saving a lot of effort on generating these reports from MIS point of view. Big saving on the efforts, on the resources, but the biggest pain of manageability is called out, right? That is one thing. Patch management also, similar thing. We were able to group the objects that, okay, these are the critical systems. I can't blindly go and roll out the patches. I can't, do patching on all the systems simultaneously. I can do the defer patching. I can schedule them. Perhaps I do not want them to be happening over the weekdays when the people are busy working, right? Just imagine, I saw a funny video that you are sitting in NASA and they are launching the rocket to the space and the system starts updating. And the guy is asking, how much time will it take? He says 49 minutes. He says, what is the ETA for this rocket to leave the orbit? He says 11 minutes, and then they are, oh my God, right? So that is the same situation, not perhaps to the extent of NASA, but trust me, for every single organization, this is a critical step. You can't afford that when your engineering team, for example, right, is doing a production release, and at that time his system gets updated and is booting or doing something and he's not able to do it. It's a clear-cut revenue loss. Or when your sales team is making a pitch to a possible customer and at that time their system is rebooting or getting updated or hung because of the patching, right? You can't afford those kind of things. So yeah, it made life easy that way. Asset management, another aspect which I love to talk about. During the pandemic, we were still hiring, and we are hiring. Why am I saying it so many times? Because we are really hiring big. Every month, so many users are getting added to our organization that it is crazy, it's insane. What challenges does it pose? One, that all the people are working from home, including IT team, getting these many systems ready, not easy. Now what happens? Only one guy has to connect all these systems to the distribution server of Endpoint Central. All the OS images that we have kept stored along with the policies, security policies, restrictions, along with the default software that we want to roll out on all these systems. Just imagine 200 systems that you want to get ready earlier. How much time was it taking? It was taking, I will take a Windows system for example, where it takes 4 to 5 hours after you have received the system from the OEM to install all the patches, because they do not come automatically patched with all the systems, not in our case at least, right? So then it takes 4 to 5 hours and somebody has to keep pressing the key after each update. Okay, reboot the system, yes, no, yes. Again it reboots, again you have to run the auto update, check whether the patches, all patches are updated or not. Then you have to install the default applications. It's a time-taking process. It's a time-taking, painful process, right? Now what happens? We all connect them onto particular network All right, only one guy. 200 machines. Connect. Distribution server will push the image with the default applications, with the policies. Don't worry. And the same one guy, after putting it all into the network, goes to sleep. When he comes back, everything is ready and he sees very clearly that all the systems are ready. And my IT team sitting remotely is also able to see it in the dashboard that, okay, this is the status of the systems. What all applications are installed, what all policies have been applied, what is pending, right? Earlier you had to log into each system to check that status. Just imagine that, right? So all of that we are able to do through Endpoint Central, right? These are a couple of advantages. I can go on and on and on because there are a lot of other things that we are able to achieve through it, right? Ticketing, for example, right? You talk about the ticketing, it is integrated. So your asset management, your vulnerability management, your patch management, your asset management, your end user incidents, everything is integrated into one solution. You don't have to go to multiple portals, you don't have to go to multiple different solutions to get all the data in one place. And all of that at what cost of the system resources. What our benchmarking so far during the POC and now since we are into the production mode, I can tell you it takes less than 1% of the resources, which means less than 1% of the CPU, less than 1% of the RAM, which is a big deal. Other products that we did the POC for took minimum 8 to 16%, and that is huge. Not huge in the terms of consumption only. Just imagine that you are talking about more system resources getting occupied by one solution, which means you have to uptick the configuration of your systems so that users still have the seamless experience, which means cost. The moment you talk about upgrading the memory or upgrading the CPU, because one solution is eating so many resources, you are talking about the cost. Not just the cost of resources, but the cost of the equipment. Perhaps organizations don't realize it, but that is really bleeding, right? We were able to catch that early on by implementing an Endpoint Central, and that is an advantage we are seeing, right? Second thing, what we have observed that it has reduced 80% of the work that my team was doing earlier manually. Now 80% of that, like I told you, deployment of the applications, deployment of the operating system, starting from there, asset management, deployment of the operating systems, deployment of the applications in the bulk, right? I will just take a diversion route here and update you about one very classic use case that we had recently after putting it into the production. Our EDR solution licenses were about to expire, and we thought that we will change the game. We will go for another EDR solution which is better, antivirus in plain language, right? Imagine on 2000 machines, you have to roll out, all 2000 users are sitting remotely. Earlier how we were doing it, we were taking the remote control of each machine and rolling it out. And users, they are busy with their core job, they were not giving the time, right? Please talk to me after 1 hour, please talk to me in the evening. Then when my team is again talking to them, please note my meeting is still not over, so just give me some more time. We kept on following up. That is what the job of IT team became, assistance. Get the time from the users and then take the remote control and deploy the solution. It was a lot painful. Now what happens? In one click, I will be able to deploy, not I will be, I already did it. We already deployed the EDR solutions in bulk in one click to all these systems. Second, we uninstalled the previous EDR that we wanted to uninstall in one click, right? And I'm able to see what is the progress. Earlier, if it took me 1 month to do it, now it is taking me 5 minutes. You can even do the maths to get what is the saving, what is a real saving, right? That is the kind of automation I'm talking about, that is the kind of saving I'm talking about. Coming back from the diversion route to the mainstream. So 80% of automation from the operating system image deployment to the remote application deployment to the asset management to the security part of vulnerability and patch management and all, we are all able to do it with lesser resources and faster. User experience has also increased a lot because of that. Now my team is not asking them for remote session time and again, okay, I have to install this or I have to uninstall this. No, somebody comes and says, okay, I need Microsoft Office, for example, to be installed. We push it remotely from in the silent mode from the backend. User does not come to know. We just tell after 15 minutes, check your system, it is installed. Best scenario, self-service portal, right? If MS Office, for example, is approved application, authorized application for your organization. Just put it on the self-service portal. It can be pulled from there directly by the user. Even if user doesn't have the administrator, it can be pulled from there because it's authorized. It will get installed. Your IT team does not even come into the picture. You are saving one hop for the user. That makes a lot of difference in their experience, right? So it's not only about the cost, it is not only about the resources, it is also about the user experience, what you are able to give. And I am happy that I am able to give a next level of experience from where we were to our users now with the help of Endpoint Central. That's, I think, I would like to say all about. Thank you.